Hi everyone, Dr. G here. I've gotten similar questions from several of you via YouTube, and so I want to address those head on. The first is during the orofacial video part 1. So if you haven't seen that, watch that. Someone said at like minute 350 or something, I just burst into tears. And another person said, gosh, what do you do to protect yourself when these practices make you feel so vulnerable? They bring up all of these emotions. And first of all, I want to say, amazing job, you guys, at your body awareness, at your self-awareness, at your what we call interoception, understanding how you feel. And then the body awareness part is your proprioception. Those two things are critical to, in the literature, overcoming trauma. And this channel is a lot of it is about challenging that medical gaslighting and saying, hey, I know my body and I know something's not quite right. And finding people who will listen to you. So first of all, I just want to say, really well done on your interoception and your proprioception of knowing how your body feels and how you feel. And I think that's the first big key to dealing with whatever trauma comes up in our life, whether it's implicit, things that basically are unconscious and we don't remember, but it's what bubbles up to the surface with the fallout of having experienced trauma, whether it was as a child or older. And then there's explicit memory of like actually having those conscious memories. So whether it's implicit or explicit, you're noticing these things coming up, and that's half the battle. So first of all, know that as soon as you notice that you burst into tears, as soon as you notice that you feel vulnerable, I've had people say they feel a little shaky after doing these orofacial techniques, that is mindfulness. You're mindful, just noticing those things. So as you're sitting with them, maybe it is putting the hands here's the trachea, right? Your windpipe beside that, maybe cascading the fingers up the side of the throat. When you're sitting upright, it's hard. It's hard to breathe without engaging these muscles. So when you feel those hard feelings, when those emotions come up, when you have an emotional reaction to a physical practice, that in itself is progress. And I want you to notice how your body feels with that. Does it feel like an emotional release? Like even if, again, as your hand is maybe resting here, for some people, it could be over the eyes, over the heart, over the belly. These are energetic areas that are associated anatomically with structures, but in the yoga discipline, they're called chakras. And I have a whole 6-hour series on this, so it's hard to dive into all the details in 6 minutes. But the point is, I want you to intuitively allow your hand to go to an area. So crown, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, pelvis. Allow your hand to go to one of those 7 places. That allows you to feel more emotional stability. In EMDR, there's a technique called the butterfly technique. Look it up. The butterfly hug, I believe, where it's here. This is your vocal chakra. If you're overcoming trauma, working in this area is liberating your voice, but at the same time, it's asking you to recognize a lot of vulnerability that maybe feels a little bit overwhelming. So maybe you do the butterfly hug here, and you're tapping on one side, tapping on the other, to get that sense of nervous system reset and calming. So that's what I mean by hand on a spot to make you feel more stable. This is emotionally stable, spiritually stable, psychologically stable. Again, going back to yogic medicine, and another part of yogic medicine is called Ayurveda. we would describe that as a grounding technique, an earth and water element, kapha, or grounding technique. So I'm pulling from both the sister sciences of yoga philosophy, yoga and Ayurveda. I'm pulling from what we know about science today and combining those two. I call that medical therapeutic yoga. So I want you to focus on taking that breath now with me, feeling the feelings that come up. Where does your hand need to be to give you that sense of grounding? You may choose to put more pressure. And if you're doing the butterfly hug like I am now, it's right over the whole vocal area. Thumbs are crossed, pressure on one side, pressure on the other side. Just slowly back and forth. Can you keep all the tension out of the strap muscles of the neck? And I want you to do a specific type of breath. And you can experiment with this. It's taking an inhale into your back ribs, into your pelvis, but keeping it out of the throat and out of the chest. So the chest is not heaving as you inhale. You're just getting pelvic floor expansion on the inhale, back rib expansion on the inhale, and this upper area stays calm and connected. Feel free to come back to this whenever you need it, whenever you feel flooded, emotionally flooded. If you're doing techniques, as some of you have mentioned, from the orofacial videos, and you feel emotionally flooded, come back to this. Realize that you can feel that sense of calm, connection, groundedness. The weight and the pressure of your own hands do a lot to provide positive input to the vagus nerve so that you don't have those feelings, but when you do, you know what to do with them. So I hope this video has been helpful to do two things. One, help you find that sense of nervous system centering and of groundedness. Not just when you're calm and when you think, oh, I'm going to practice this, but when you actually are having feelings of vulnerability, upset, trauma, triggers resurging, or things like that. Or if you just need to feel calm. And if you're on the planet breathing, you need that every single day. So I hope this helps. I would recommend looking at the Medical Therapeutic Yoga playlist, the Master Me First playlist, and the Orofacial Part 1 and Part 2 for other groundedness techniques. And if you like this video, hit subscribe, share it with a friend. I appreciate all of your support and your constant, continuous stream of content, of comments. It helps me create more content for you. Okay.